This is Coffee with God, and I am Father Jose. Let us begin this day with the Word of God and a short reflection.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke, chapter 2, verses 41 to 51. The passage is taken from the Message version of the Bible. Every year, Jesus' parents traveled to Jerusalem for the feast of Passover. When he was 12 years old, they went up as they always did for the feast. When it was over and they left for home, the child Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but his parents didn't know it. Thinking he was somewhere in the company of pilgrims, they journeyed for a whole day and began looking for him among relatives and neighbors. When they didn't find him, they went back to Jerusalem looking for him. The next day, they found him in the temple, seated among the teachers, listening to them and asking questions. The teachers were all quite taken with him, impressed with the sharpness of his answers. But his parents were not impressed. They were upset and hurt. His mother said, "Young man, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been half out of our minds looking for you." He said, "Why were you looking for me? Didn't you know that I had to be here, dealing with the things of my father?" But they had no idea what he was talking about. So he went back to Nazareth with them and lived obediently with them. His mother held these things dearly, deep within herself. And Jesus matured, growing up in both body and spirit, blessed by both God and people. The Gospel of the Lord.
Reflections on the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 2, verses 41 to 51. Mary kept everything in her heart. As if in the shadow of the solemnity of the heart of Jesus, the Church places the obligatory Memoria of the Immaculate Heart of Mary on the day after the Solemnity of the Sacred Heart. It is important to remember and contemplate the Heart of Mary after having contemplated the meaning of the heart of Jesus. Because if the Word became flesh and thus received a heart of flesh, Mary is that flesh of the Word, from whom the Word of the Eternal Father took his mortal flesh. We Christians have a lot to learn from Mary's heart. From the meek and humble of heart of Jesus, we receive the revelation of love. From the heart of Mary, we learn to accept and assimilate that love. Mary is for us a teacher of the Christian life. In her, there was no resistance. Her fiat or yes was complete and unconditional. But like anyone else, she too had to walk through that process of faith in which not everything was clear at the beginning. She too lost sight of Jesus and felt the anguish of a search that did not bear immediate fruit. The 3 days of searching speak in fact of the 3 days Mary lived through from Good Friday to Easter Sunday. Not everything was clear to her. Yet, Mary kept everything in her heart, leaving depths of the soul in which a complete understanding is possible only in the fullness of time, the time designed by God Himself. This is the humble heart, the open heart, the heart that loves, the heart of a mother, the Immaculate Heart of Mary. If we imitate Jesus, the meek and humble of heart, shall we not also imitate the one from whom that heart took its flesh? Saint Anthony Mary Claret, a 19th century Spanish missionary, propagated the devotion of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. He founded the religious congregation of the Missionary Sons of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, also known as the Claretian Missionaries. Saint Claret composed the following prayer to Mary, which is inscribed in his chapel. O Heart of Mary, furnace and instrument of love, enkindle me with the love of God and my neighbor.